We live in a generation of SUVs. Ford Cougars, Vauxhall Mockers, Nissan Qashqais. None of them gets your blood boiling. None of them deliver fast and fun thrills for the family man. But this week, I may have just found the perfect answer. Going against the grain of SUVs, stepping back into estates, or I should say, in BMW speak, touring. Because this week, I've got my hands on this 2014 BMW 320d M Sport Touring, or in BMW speak, the F31. This may just be the perfect family car. Let's find out. Welcome to this week's Fast and Fun. So this is the 6th generation of the 3 Series. The 3 Series has been going on for decades and decades now. It was built, the 6 Series, between 2012 and 2019, codenamed the F30 if it was a 4-door saloon, or the F31 for the 5-door touring or estate version. Came in a selection of petrol and diesel engines, but the most common one was the diesel, the 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel, delivering 180 brake horsepower and a mighty 280 pounds-foot of torque. This one engine was initially in the F30 and 31 was the N47, although it was replaced with the B47 in late 2014. This is a 2014 plate, so ignore the private plate on the front, which makes it look like a 2013, but it is a 2014. And this has got the 8-speed automatic ZF gearbox. The majority were, over 80% of them came as automatic. You could opt for a 6-speed manual. And performance was pretty impressive for a family touring car, achieving 0 to 60 in around about 7.5 seconds. So this one set off in this lovely grey colour with the contrasting black alloys, and because it's the M Sport version, it's got a few M Sport goodies, particularly around the suspension, where it's slightly lowered, stiffer damping, stiffer anti-roll bars. It comes on, well, the M Sports came on either 18 or 19s. This comes on 18-inch alloy wheels, and a few other aesthetics around the car, front and rear bumpers, sills, etc. So let's have a look at some of the features of the car first, do a walk around, and then we'll take it out onto some of my favourite roads. It stays with the BMW famous kidney grille, but this is the generation before they moved to the G-Class, which is the one that moved to the very large kidney grille that was, well, hit quite a lot of the headlines because it really split opinion on the look of that particular kidney grille. This is more traditional. With the M Sport front bumper, there's a lot going on here. I think one feature I absolutely love is the headlights. And BMW's 3 Series were always known for having the sort of shark nose, and I think they've managed to do this. This headlight here, it gets recessed right into the front bumper, but as it comes out, then it actually protrudes, and it's got this silver now external to the front bonnet, the front wing, and the front bumper. So, but it gives the overhang here gives it that shark nose appearance still, and quite an aggressive looking front end, I think. If we step round the side of the car, 5 twin spoke, 18-inch black alloys on this particular one, running on Bridgestone Potenza tyres. They are run flats. So I've not had good drives on run flats before. Run flats tend to make the ride very, very harsh. If you make this up to a firmer suspension setup on the M Sport, it'll be interesting to see how this car rides on some of the pretty poor state of British B roads. The M Sport blue calipers contrast fact they look like they've been recently refurbed. Actually, they look in amazing condition. So that really brings stands out with that blue M Sport colour. If we look down the side of the car, you can see that it's got the sort of rear tint on the rear windows, just to make it look that a little bit more sports car-esque. And then if we look here at the back, it's the famous Hofmeister kink that all BMWs have had for many, many years now, and they get that in all the models, which stands out from BMW. The sun has brilliantly come out now as I'm doing the walk around video. Spoiler, quite an aggressive spoiler on the rear of the roof and the upper part. And then if you come round the back, no hiding what it is, 320D. A lot of people get those D badged just so they look a little bit more stealthy. But there's a couple of nice features on this car. One in particular is there's an easy access here, almost similar to sort of things like the Range Rover does. Just the glass lifts up, and it enables you to reach in and into a deep, recessed, cavernous boot space, really. And that's great, I think, for quite often on estates, you lift up the tailgate, or the shopping drops out, or the dog wants to jump out, and that just gives you easy access there. So I think that's a really quirky feature. It's also got electric opening tailgate as well. So there you go, and that just shows you then the space you've got. And this is where the touring version scores really well for versatility. In the back here, it's got one of these cargo or dog guards as well that can be flipped up, and the boot cover there. And there's actually two. You can actually put it in the open position, or you can actually flick it up in the higher position there. So you've got a couple of options for the cover. But if you look underneath, there's some small storage there for bits and pieces for both under the flat four. There's obviously no spare wheel because it's on run flats. And then you've got additional handy things for families. Families want bits and pieces everywhere. Just trying to get into. There's access there to the first aid kit. Every family needs one of those. Again, 12-volt power supply as well, always handy, and some lashing points down in good tradition of estate car. So that's all pretty practical there for most families. Being the 3 Series, it's in that small, compact exec class. So obviously it's not going to be as big as something like the 5 Series, but this is in that small class, and I think it just gives you a lot of versatility. You can see on the back windscreen how it is. It's not the traditional estate, which are quite straight down and quite vertical. This is sort of a recessed at probably 45 degrees, which is more in keeping with something like a hatchback. And they've done that for style over function. They could have gone out further, but if they'd done that, it probably wouldn't have looked quite as sporting. If we take a look in the back seats, the driver's seat is in my driving position. I'm 6 foot, so that just gives you an indication of the space, and I think it's bigger than I expected it to be. This is all in black leather as well. I think leather's really good, especially for families with younger children that spill things. It's easy to keep leather clean, although it can be a little bit cold on the winter days. And then we have a step inside, exec looking interior. The BMW M Sport steering wheel there with the paddle shifters, that 8-speed auto shifter. This one comes with the ProNav screen, which is slightly larger than the standard screen as well. And we'll go through the different driver modes and what that does to the ride and the performance later. Let's have a quick look under the bonnet. It's a double pull for the bonnet, so you pull it once, let it go, and then pull it a second time. And I don't think there's any catch on these now because it's a double pull, which is much better. Again, like a lot of BMWs now. This used to be really rare, but they've all seemed to go with these double catchers. on the bonnets. And there we go, twin power turbo, plastic shroud, like all modern-ish cars now. And as I say, it's the most popular by far is the 320D, and it'll be interesting to see how noisy, clattery it is on the drive. So there we go. So that's a quick canter around, picked out some of the key features for me. Now let's take it out and let's see how this car drives. Okay, it's keyless start, so foot on the brake, I think, press the start, and the engine starts. So, just let me move out the steering wheel a bit for me. Straight away, inside the car, it feels a really upmarket car. Everything looks smart, it's well laid out. The infotainment system is, as you would expect from a 10-year-old car, a little bit outdated, but it's all just looking across. There's numbers, there's buttons to press. The gearbox there, the flappy paddles on the steering wheel, nice leather clad with the little M Sport on the bottom of the steering wheel, flappy paddles as well. And a simple laid out analog dash, speedo on the left, rev counter red lining at 5,000, telling you what type of car this is. The iDrive a little bit more complex on the left hand side there, but again just pressing nav and it brings up a navigation, and it's quite a nice sort of display for its age. Noise, disguises the diesel noise very, very well. So yeah, it's not very much diesel clatter at all actually. So that is all quite nice. So let's take it away, drop it into drive. We're in the standard normal mode first, we'll then move it into Sport and Sport Plus, but first of all I need to warm this engine up. So you'll join me very soon on some better roads. So the initial impressions are quite surprising really. The ride quality for a start. I thought with the M Sport suspension being firmer, lower, harder, I thought with run flats having the toughened up sidewalls that lack absorption and can make the car quite rigid, I thought those together may make this ride too harsh, too firm. Not at all. Road noise, a little bit of road noise, but I think that's more tyre than engine. And the 8-speed ZF gearbox, just it changes up and changes down, very smooth, very relaxed, very easy to just coast along, waft along here on this wall of torque, but at this very thick, maybe slightly too thick steering wheel. Leather clad, feels nice, the paddles are right in where you want the paddle shift to be, which we'll come on to later when we move it into Sport to Sport Plus. But at the moment it's on the sporty side, which I expect because it's an M Sport, but it's not choppy, it's not harsh. Variable, absolutely. I could do serious miles in this car. Just knock it down one through these right and left hander. you can hear that diesel rattle there, but you've got to offset the noise with miles per gallon, because at worst I think you're going to get 40. I think 50 is very achievable, and I've heard that some people, if careful on long journeys, can touch 60 to the gallon. So that's serious good MPG. So this is one of my favourite roads we're going to go down to here. I've got it in sport mode. I'll just, if you want to get it into manual, you can either flick the lever across to the left, or you just flick one of the paddles. So just knocked the lever, and I'll take it through in manual here and see what this road can throw at this 320D. It's all about using that low down torque, but this is say cold conditions, a little bit slimy the road. You really want to be in that sort of 2,000 to 3,000 revs, seems where all that power is. Drop it there into fourth as we go around this tightening corner there. Just feels a little bit slippy there, but the gearbox is superb. It really is. Effortless gear changes. Steering is quite heavy on the steering, and dare I say, just a little bit inert, I think. I'm not really sure what's happening. Unfortunately, we're running into some cars here. Not quite sure. It's direct enough, but just feels a little bit false. And this is electric steering rather than, this is the first generation of the 3 Series that moved away from the hydraulic of the E90 series, and it feels a little bit artificial for me. And I'm just a little bit unnervy about the back end of the car. So this 2-litre turbo diesel unit was found in many, many engines within the BMW range. It first came out in, I think, about 2007. It's called, the code is the M47. And if you Google M47 on the internet, it is full of timing chain disasters, where the timing chain has snapped, wrote the engine off, and that was relieved in late 2014 on these, 2015, when they brought out the replacement, which was the B47, I think. But I wouldn't read too much into it. Many cars suffer the same type of Achilles heel. There's always something that is a showstopper for almost any make or model. So the few people that it's affected are very vocal on the internet. I wouldn't let that worry you and deter you from buying one of these. The seats, you can get a really great driving position. You sit low. I've got, nice support, lumbar support in the seat, but yet they're comfortable as well. And I could imagine that you could do some serious miles in this car with no issues at all. Even though I'm a little bit surprised that a sort of a small compact exec car doesn't come with electric seats. Values of the F30 and F31 series, really good. So this car was about 35k new, the 320D M Sport Touring, the F31. You're now, for a similar sort of car, they start from as low as sort of 6-7k is the bottom of the market. They will have super high miles on them, though. I've seen a few over 200,000 that just show you the mileage that you can get out of these engines. And they go all the way up to the very latest, the 2018, 2019 models, really low mileage ones, are still commanding over 25. But you're getting quite a lot of car for your money. And what it does mean is there's almost a car for any budget. More I drive this car, more I'm tending to leave it in the auto mode. And I'm finding that when I'm in manual, I want to rev the engine out, and there's no point, because the key figure is the torque, that 280 pound-foot of torque that's delivered from as little as 1,750 RPM. And so you really want to be in the sweet spot of 2,500, 3,000 RPM, and it's not worth revving it out beyond that. And the auto gearbox does a really good job there in keeping you in the sweet spot. When I'm in manual, all I want to do is rev it out. This bit of road we're going down now is a really testing bit of road, very badly surfaced, subsided in places, real good test for the car's setup. I could just feel it trying to soak up some of these compressions here through a real few bumps and potholes there. The damping is really good. In fact, it's riding this road so well, and I'm going here at national speed limit, really testing it. That's brilliant. In fact, I'm absolutely astonished that this is on run flat tyres. I cannot believe how well it's come down that piece of road. So I've put it into sport mode now, and once we get to the national speed limit, we'll see what this car accelerates like. At the moment, we're just ticking along at 30 miles an hour and about 1,600 revs. It's in automatic. We'll see what it's down like now. Hard acceleration. Didn't kick down, surprisingly, and it revved to over 4,000 then. Hold it through these couple of less tested little corners there, and then get back on the power again. Holding on really well. It's covering ground very, very fast. And it's the delivery, it's all smooth, and with the auto gearbox, it's just effortless changing. In fact, you don't even feel the changes in the gearbox. It's an absolute breeze to put serious power down. This feels mightily quick for 180 horsepower in a relatively heavy small exec car. You're never really sure when you buy an older car whether there's been any sort of remap done on the car, but that felt mightily quick. Maybe it's the 280 pound-foot of torque. Short straight here, so again 30 miles an hour, hard acceleration. Putting some serious power down there. Brakes. I find the brakes are better at speed. At speed, I'm getting more confidence with the car. Slower speed, I find them a little bit grabby on that initial bite. But once you get up to speed and start pushing on, I think they're better. And they certainly give you some serious stopping power. The ride quality is truly astonishing. I was expecting this to be crashy and banging all over the road. How BMW have managed to firm up the suspension and use run flats and get this quality, I do not know. So how do I summarise my day with the 320D? There's a couple of small things, I suppose. The big one is, I think, the steering. It just feels a little bit too, artificially heavy, really weighty, too much weight, I think, to the feel. And as a result of that, it's not really telling me what them front wheels are doing. And as a result of that, I'm a little bit nervous around the turning and how much to push on through the corners. Smaller niggles, I suppose, are the steering wheel. I like a thick, chunky steering wheel. I think this is too thick. I'd just trade the diameter down a little bit would make it perfect. and ultimately it's a diesel. So it's not, yes, it's the noise that you miss, but it's actually more so the revs. Not being able to rev it out, it's a different way of driving. And it just doesn't get the blood racing as a petrol would. But wow, there's a lot to like. And number one for me is the ride quality. Astonishingly great, good. Run flats, M Sport lowered, stiffer suspension. It rides brilliantly well. This is not a car that you have to avoid the worst of the roads. Not at all. The quality of the damping, the way it can handle compressions and bumps in the road is absolutely brilliant. The engine and the gearbox. For me, I've not driven the 6-speed manual, and I wouldn't want to. This 8-speed ZF Auto is brilliant, and to tell you the truth, in the diesel, I think in auto it works brilliantly well. Seamless changes, and that N47 2-litre diesel gives you some serious pull, some serious performance. In fact, so much so, you question whether, has it really only got 180 brake horsepower? Because it feels like it's delivering a lot more. And the cabin, it feels quality, it feels premium. This car is 10 years old. You'd have no idea. If somebody said this was 4 or 5 years old, you would believe them. So there we go. Final summary for me is the 320D M Sport F31. You wouldn't get up early on a Sunday morning to take it out for a drive. It won't set the pulse racing like other sports cars would. But if that was the answer, if that was the final summary, you've been missing the point, because this is a everyday family car that delivers performance, delivers fast and fun performance, but for everyday driving. Wrap it into a practical, good-looking estate or touring car with values that you know are going to hold really, really well, having the BMW badge on them. And suddenly it makes a very, very strong, compelling case. The perfect car for the one-car family? If it isn't, I don't know what is. Love my time in the car. Think it's a cracking buy. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you agree, disagree, thoughts and comments, drop them below. If you enjoyed it, thumbs up, subscribe, stay tuned. Another video next week. Thanks for watching, guys.